hopefully you guys can see these two units okay now. I've got two of them set up here. We're going to kind of focus on each one just a little bit and go through some of the features on the units. One thing you'll notice, these units have really nice displays. They're very interactive. You can, they're all touch screen, so they're really easy for the operator to use. There's a few different menus in the units. I'm going to just go over a few of the features here real quick. I've got one setting off here to the side. I'm going to show you guys. These come with a really nice lithium-ion battery, so they'll hold a charge for a long time. The battery just plugs in and out of the back of the unit. If you guys can see here, I don't know, I haven't got the best video view of that, but that literally just snaps in the back there. So if you were to turn one of these units over, the battery is just right behind it there. The other thing that they have is they have a module that is interchangeable, and that depends on the range you get, but that's right in the back of the unit. So you can just unscrew the screws and change the modules. So that really helps you guys with improving accuracy that you need. So maybe if you're doing a 1 inch of water calibration and you've really got to nail that, we can go down as low as even a 1/4 inch of water with our modules. So we have a really wide selection of modules, and they're very easy to interchange in and out. So that's probably the kind of the first thing as far as features of the unit goes. What we're going to do here today is we're going to do a couple of transmitter calibrations, and I'm going to walk you guys through it and kind of show you how the unit works and how you go about doing that. So the first thing you'll notice is there's two measurements you're seeing here on the screen, and hopefully you guys can see that. I'm going to try to slide this camera in just a hair more for this, so you can see the actual displays a little better. Hopefully we don't have too much glare there. I think Nick said he could see it pretty good earlier, so if you guys can't see it, let us know. So what we're seeing here is we're seeing the milliamps, and we're also seeing a pressure reading. Each of these menus, or these two windows, they're almost set up as windows like on your PC, have individual menus in them. So you can drop these menu buttons down, and you guys might not be able to read that. I'm going to kind of tell you what they say in there, but this one's basically controls the milliamp part of the unit, and then this one down here controls the pressure part. So in this menu there's a 0, so we can go ahead and zero our pressure unit. I'm going to vent it first, so we start out on vent. Looks like it's pretty close to 0, but let's go ahead and 0 it. You just hit that and it auto zeros, so it pops up on the screen telling us we're zeroing the unit. And then once that gets done, you can see that it's already zeroed now. You just press OK and you're done with that. There's also an auto step feature in here, which this is kind of cool. So if you're going out in the field and you want to do a step, so you want to set it at 0, then 50, then 100, it will step through that, and you can set the time that you want it to stay at each of those pressures before it goes to the next one. I'm not sure we're gonna do that right now, but I did want to let you guys know that that's available and in the module. Off to the other side of the screen, you'll see the blue button off to the side, and that's another drop down menu. And if we drop that down, you can see the features that you can change in and out on the unit. So you can change the resolution, the slew rate, you can change that. You can change the stability of the unit, PSI. There's another feature here that a lot of people like, is a set point limit. So you could do a set point limit. So say if you were doing really low inches of water and you didn't want the unit to go over that, you can go in and set it. So it's really easy to access that menu right there and go into that. As far as the other menu goes, up here in the top window, which is the milliamp or the electrical side of the unit, we can drop that down, and then we can see, you can read voltage in, you can read milliamps, you can do a switch. That's kind of the things that it says right here. And I don't think those are probably really easy to read, but what we're going to do first is we're going to do a heart transmitter. So I've got this unit dropped down. I'm going to go ahead and select this heart transmitter. and it's going to go out. What it's doing right now, it's going out and looking for the heart transmitter. And once it finds it, it pulls all the information in, and we can see what's going on here. So we've got our loop current down here. We've got our pressure, and we're reading the heart transmitter at this point. So I don't know if you guys can see this heart transmitter. If I can turn the camera the right way, it's backwards to me. That's the heart transmitter, and I've got that powered up with the 760. So you can provide the power that you need to power your transmitter, or you could turn that off and power it the other way. So I'm going to go back here to the units where I think you can probably see it a little better. But that's the unit that we're actually going to do the calibration on. I think this is one of the really cool features about this unit that maybe a lot of people don't use, and is the heart functionality. And the heart functionality makes this unit really a good deal, because you can literally take one unit out in the field and adjust your heart transmitter, pressurize it up, do everything, which maybe in the past you've had to take 2 or maybe even 3 units out to accomplish that task. So that's one of the things people have really liked about this. But if I go in here and I want to adjust this heart transmitter, we can go in here and do that. So we can go in here, let's go into the process first and see what we've got going as far as, oops, I hit the wrong button, I'm sorry. Let's go into settings first, so we can see we've got our device output here, we've got our sensor and our device information. So let's go into our output of this transmitter and see what it's set to. So right now it's set to PSI 0 to 100. Let's go ahead and change that. Let's change it to 150 and hit enter. We just literally adjusted this heart transmitter with the 760. So I think that's a really cool feature that, you know, if you want to go out and make some changes to your heart transmitter, you can do it with this unit. Let's now go down and go into the service side of this unit. Well, let me see one thing here. It looks like I accidentally switched that over to a temperature because I went into the process side. So if we want to read milliamps, we want to read pressure, whatever we want to read, we can. I'm going to go ahead and select milliamps so we can see the milliamps. So this is obviously a 4 to 20 milliamp transmitter. We're at 0 and we're reading pretty much exactly 4 milliamps, as you can see there on the screen. Just glancing over to see if we have any questions. It looks like everyone's pretty good with where we're at right now. So you can do that. Let's say we want to service this transmitter. Let's say we want to go and we want to do a sensor trim. We want to set a high trim. The unit will literally go up to 150 PSI and it will stabilize out with the pump. So we're actually pressurizing the transmitter right now. It's going to go up to 150 PSI. Then we can zero the data at both points, so at the top and the bottom. But this is probably something you would do after you run the calibration. I was messing around with this earlier, and the transmitter is really pretty close to right on. We'll see if it's right on at 150, but we'll let it pressurize up. And as you guys can see, I mean, it's pretty quick to get to pressure. We're taking it all the way to 150. Once it gets there, the screen will turn green like it does anytime that you pressurize something. It shows, hey, we're stable at that point. And I'll show you that a little more on the front screen, how you do that when we get back to that. But as you can see now, it's stabilized out. We're basically right at 149. If we want to adjust the transmitter, we could do that. We just fetch it and hit enter, and it would apply that setting. It's basically already there, but this is one of the features that not a ton of people always use on this unit, but I always like to show it because people always say, wow, I didn't even know this unit could do that. I've just been using it to do pressure. So I kind of chose to do that first, just to let you guys see how you can literally adjust your heart transmitter and do whatever you want with that. I could also do a low trim, which that would just drop it down to 0. It vents out really quick. it goes to 0. We'll see what it's reading at 0. It looks like it's pretty close at 0 as well. I'm going to go ahead and fetch the data and apply it. And there we go. It basically applied the setting. So as far as the heart menu or the heart functionality goes, that's a pretty good example of that. I don't know if any of you guys have any questions on that. Now that only comes with the data logging version of this unit. When we named it the data logging is like one of the very small things that the I like to call it more of the process side of the unit does. You can actually do the heart functionality. You can data log with it. You can also do a task, which is something we're going to do here. And I'm probably going to do that with this unit. And then I'm going to jump over and show you guys how we do the, how good and stable it is on inches of water here in a bit as well with the other unit. But so the next thing we're going to do, I'm just going to show you a little bit here on the front menu. So if I want to just simply change the pressure, let's say I want to go to 5 psi, hit enter. I can just hit 5 psi. You see, I don't know if you can see this, but the target right there is showing 5 psi. It's the bottom of this screen right here. And I'm going to try to be careful not to hit this camera anymore. I don't know if I knocked that or what happened. But if I want to step this up by 5 psi and just continue to step it up like that, let it stabilize, you can do that. This is kind of nice if you guys are, if you're down on the floor and you're the only guy and you don't have anyone in the control room and you just want to step it up 20 psi at a time, you just hit the unit and you can walk in the control room and see your, say, oh yeah, we're at 15 psi right now and we're stable, okay? So the other way to do that would be with the step function. I'm going to go ahead and vent this real quick here now. The other function that this unit has that's really nice is writing a task or writing a calibration procedure so that we can do a calibration. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to hit task, and it's really easy to do this. You can also do this with our ACAL software, which makes it really easy to upload and download these tasks from your computer down to the 760. We're just going to go ahead and do it with the 760 because I want to show you guys how to do it with the unit. We're going to go ahead and add one. Now what it asks us here is, do you guys want to do a dial gauge, a digital gauge, a pressure transmitter, a pressure switch, an IP converter? What type of UUT are you doing? We're doing a pressure transmitter. So we're going to go ahead and select that. Now what we have to do is we have to say, okay, I want to name this, and we can go ahead and name it. I'm just gonna go ahead and name it. We'll do SV1 for Statesville 1 here, and hit enter. Now, if we have a serial number for the unit, we'd want to put that in at this time. I'm just going to use 123 for the sake of the demo, and I'm going to put that in. Now, if there's a location, so if you guys are in a big pharma or somewhere like that, you could put the exact room that this is in, or whatever you needed to help you find this, because you can download all these in the morning and then you can see them on your screen if you want to use our software, or they'd always be in here, however you want to do that. As we go down here, we're gonna go down through this. You can put any notes you wanted. You can also put what type of pressure calibration you're doing. So if we're doing gauge, absolute, or differential. Now this unit is set up to do gauge and absolute. With our low pressure unit, you can also do differential. It's in the menu here, but it's kind of nice. This particular unit has a barometer built in. So if you guys wanted to do absolute pressure measurements with this, you could do that. Now we go down and we hit our input. So this is where we decide, okay, what are we going to calibrate? So you guys might not be able to see that right now. It's on inches of water. I'm going to go ahead and switch this over to PSI. As you guys, I'm going to hit that one more time just to show you. We've got many different options in there, and that's one thing that I've learned with pressure. I mean, I sold temperature for many years, and we basically had Fahrenheit, Celsius, and Kelvin. In pressure, there's just so many different things, but we basically got them all in this unit. So I selected PSI right there. Now we're going to go ahead and set up our range. So we set this transmitter from 0 to 150. So let's go ahead and do that and hit enter. Now our output, or what we're going to read, we're using this heart transmitter. So we're going to go ahead and leave it on heart. We could switch it analog and do it the other way if we wanted to. We're going to go ahead and do it on the heart. And we're gonna, you can set this either as linear or square root. Most times people are doing a linear calibration. You could do a square root though, as you can see here, you got linear or square root when you select that button. And our accuracy, so we can put whatever accuracy we want in here. We do have some custom ones filled in, so you know, maybe 0.1, 0.2, 1%, whatever you're doing. We're just gonna leave it where it is, and I believe it was at 0.2% of full scale. And we're gonna go ahead and select that. So now that task is in the 760. As you can see, we got Statesville 1 right here. So if I select that now, I go in here and I can set it, it shows me, okay, I've got that serial number 123. I'm ready to start a calibration, okay? So one thing people always ask me, what if I have a bunch of these transmitters? It's really easy to add another one. Down here at the bottom of this screen, there's a copy feature, and you can just hit that, and you can copy this, and all you'd have to do, it would leave the same process or the same calibration setup that you just had in there, but you could change the serial number, the name, the notes, anything you wanted, you could change, okay? So that copy feature is pretty handy. I'm going to go ahead and press this play button up here, and we're going to start this calibration. Now this is really cool. You can select however many pressure points you want to do at this time. So right here we've got 5. You guys may not be able to see what they say. I don't know. Can you see that, Nick? The numbers on that or not?
Yeah, man, we can see it.
Okay. So when I do this up and down, I could do as many points as I want, which literally I think it goes up to like 17 or 18. It looks like it goes up to 17. And I can go down to whatever I want. Most times people are doing either a 5-point cal or a 3-point cal. So you guys notice it increments them evenly. So it's a 0, 75, and 150 if we're doing a 3-point cal. Let's say I wanted to change this though, and I wanted to do 100 instead of 75. Any one of these are user selectable, so you can select it however you want to. Makes it really handy if you guys need to do an odd point. I know some people start maybe at 10% rather than at 0, so you could figure out what that would be and enter that. So we're going to go ahead and do this 3-point cal. This next feature allows you to do it however many times. You can do it 1, 2, or 3 times. We're just going to do it 1 time, and we're going to do a round trip. The reason we're going to do a round trip is it's going to show us our hysteresis value of the sensor as it goes up and down, okay? And then we're going to wait 5 seconds each time it becomes stable. So now that program's in there, we're going to go ahead and say okay. Now, for you guys in pharma, maybe you guys have to write this down manually. There's two ways you can do this. You can either do it manually or automated. I'm going to do it automated for the sake of this demo, but if you guys wanted to do it manually, it would just go to each point, and then you could write it down, and then it would step to the next point. So I know many of the customers of Statesville are pharma, so you can do it that way, just so you know. You can still run this feature. The cool thing about it is it saves the data, so you guys have that data and you can see it later. So maybe you wrote something down, you can't read your writing, which would be my case. I'd probably want to go back and look at the what the unit stored just to make sure I got it right. Okay, we're going to hit the automated button down here at the bottom, and it will go ahead and it will start doing the calibration. So it did the first point, and now it's going up to the second point at 75. I'm going to show you guys, you can look at this in 2 ways. We got this graph feature right here that we're looking at, or you can go look at the actual raw data at where it took the point. So I don't know if you guys can see that last one. It just took, we had it set at 75, it took it at 74.998, and so our error was literally nothing as far out as it goes. I mean, there probably was a slight error, but as far as within our tolerance, it didn't show up. So now it's going up to the 150 point. And the way this is set up, it does the 150 point twice. But what I always find really cool about this unit is I'm sitting here talking to you guys, doing this demonstration, not even touching the unit, and it's go ahead and doing all the work for me, storing all the points. It will do the top point twice. Now it's dropping down to the 75. So we literally just did a 7-point cal right there in the time that this has been running. And when we get done, we can save this data. We can save it as found, as left, or both, and record the data. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that now. Once it takes this final point, what it will do is it will pop up with a little screen here and show us that. This transmitter was really tight, and it was probably because earlier when I just barely adjusted this transmitter, trimmed it. And so we didn't get a really great example of anything there. But if I want to save this, I go ahead and do as found, as left, or both. We're going to save it as both. I'm going to hit OK. So now at the end of the day, when I'm all done and I've got all these calibrations in here, I go back into my task menu and I see I've got statesville 1 in there, and I want to go look at my raw data, my as left data. I can go in and I can actually see exactly what it was, okay? So that's kind of the way the task feature works. I don't know if any of you guys, I don't see any questions popping up on the chat there, but if you guys do have any questions, let me know anytime. We'll have a little Q&A at the end as well. Maybe one thing, I didn't really go into this, but it's really easy to hook this up to a transmitter. Just hook your 2 ports in up here, and then you hook it to the back of your transmitter. The other thing I wanted to show you guys while we're doing this, looks like we've been going for about a half hour here, but I want to bring this other unit in, and I want to show you guys the inches of water cal. So we've got this hooked to 2 ports up here at the top, and hopefully you guys can see that. So this is a Ashcroft transmitter that we're running here. We've got it hooked up. You guys, I think these are pretty common in pharma. I think actually we might have got this transmitter from you guys. I just unhooked my lead here, so I lost my milliamp reading. But as you guys can see there, now I'm reading in inches of water here on this unit, and I'm going to go ahead and vent this so it goes down to the vent. Now, just like the other unit, we can go ahead and we can go in and zero this. So let's do that real quick, just so we're starting out right at 0. And then we'll go ahead. And what I really want to show you guys about this, if you guys haven't done inches of water, or if you have or haven't done inches of water calibration, this is pretty amazing how well our unit will control inches of water. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this at 1 inch of water. And I'm going to go ahead and set the unit and let it do the work here. Now, what it's going to do, it's going to go out and start to stabilize and figure out where it's at. And you'll see it stabilize, and it'll go to the 1 inch of water, and then it will turn green once it gets there. And what's really remarkable about this compared to maybe the way people have done this in the past is usually you have some type of pump and you're turning some knob to try to get it right on. The great thing about this is it has a built-in controller, so it's going to always work to stabilize at 1 inch of water. So as we go through here, you'll see it continue to refine the measurement, and it gets right on. So now you see we're at 1 inch of water to 4 decimal places, and literally we're only seeing the 4th decimal place move, which is a very finite measurement. So that's pretty remarkable. Now let's say we want to step this up 1 inch of water, and we want to go to 2 inches of water. We just hit that arrow up, the 1 inch of water up, and it goes up to the next measurement. So this happens to be a 5 inches of water transmitter that I'm using, this Ashcroft transmitter that I'm showing you guys. Literally, I've had customers that have used 1/4 inch of water transmitters. And one thing that I really love to show about this unit, let's say we want to really get crazy here and we want to control it maybe at 0.2 0.25. So we're going to control it at a 1/4 inch of water. Now what you're going to see is it's going to drop down to that 1/4 inch of water, and it's going to stabilize out and maintain that. And you can even go, you can go way smaller than that if you want to. But I kind of like to show this for the demo just to let you guys know how good it is. And really, there's no other unit out there that will do this type. This is literally a 4-pound unit that you can take anywhere. You can, you know, I always have guys say, "Oh, we love this unit because I can go out. My sensor is right over a door. I can get on a ladder. This is easy to put in my hand. I can go up there and I can take that measurement." So I always hear that from you guys that, you know, I talk to out in the field, which you know, makes it really fun to show this unit and to hear how you guys are using it. We're also reading the milliamps as you guys can see here. So let's just say I wanted to go to 2.5 inches of water. That would be roughly half of the 4 to 20. Should be about 12 milliamps. And we'll go ahead and take it up there real quick and just show you guys how that performs at the midpoint. So as far as overall features of the 760 go, we have 3 different versions of this unit. We have this one here, which is our really low pressure unit. This one basically goes from minus 30 inches of water to plus 30 inches of water. And you can put modules anywhere in that range in there. So you can put a 1 inch, a 5 inch, a 10 inch, 30 inch, and interchange them. We have a middle unit, which I didn't have here, which was the unit I showed you how the batteries change in and out of. And that one has a range of basically minus 12.5 PSI to 35 PSI. So you can put modules in all the way across the range on that, down to as low as 10 inches of water up to the CP35. And then of course we have the one here in the back that will go from minus 12.5 up to 300 PSI. So we can cover a really wide range. I think I might have just lost the camera again.
Yeah, we did.
All right. Luckily, we're about done with showing you guys the demos here. I'm not sure why that keeps going out like that. It must be really sensitive on that camera lead or something. Now I can only see myself on there and I can't see the other camera. Try plugging it back in. But anyway, hopefully you guys got a good feel of how the unit functions and everything as far as that goes. I think it's back now.
Yeah,
Anyone
you're back
have
now.
any questions or want to ask me anything in particular about the units? Feel free. This is a good time to do that.
Yeah, Chris, we had a text or a chat message
Okay.
question. Hold on, let me pull it up. So they have a ADT 760D
Okay.
and the module ADT 155 CP300-760.
Yep.
And I think they want to use that module with that unit.
The 300. It was 300, right?
Yes, CP300.
Yeah. So I don't think that module. If I'll have Nick shoot you guys out a data sheet, but it shows which modules will work with which unit. And I can probably pull that up and share my screen here and show you guys that. But basically the 300 PSI module will not work in that unit because the range of that unit only goes to 35 and that unit's calibrated across the full range. Okay. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And the real reason, you know, we have the different models is especially on the low pressure, the inches of water, it just makes this unit really stable and good by having the additional units. So you can really control at inches of water. If you're using the 300 PSI unit, it's still pretty dang good at low inches of water. but you're not going to get your accuracy and that you need probably to do a calibration of those really low inches of water sensors. All right, guys, anything else? You guys are a pretty easy crowd. Nick or
Yeah, I'm here.
Tom, anyone else want me to cover anything else on these units? I know you guys know a lot about these and have sold a lot of them. I don't know if there's anything else your customers might be interested in.
Yeah, guys, are there any other questions anyone may have?
I know Tom shows us a lot. Is there anything you'd want him to show above and beyond, Tom?
No, I think he did a good job. Good job, Chris.
Okay, guys. Well, I really appreciate the guys at Statesville setting this up. You guys are probably have sold more 760s than anyone else in the U.S. So hopefully the customers like it and use it. And if anyone needs any detailed questions on this unit or wants an individual demo, they can feel free to give us a call anytime and we'll do that. So thanks a lot.
Thank you guys very much. We certainly appreciate it. And thank you all for attending. And go ahead and sign up for the 286 next week. Thank you guys.
Thanks,
Everybody have a
Nick.
good
Thanks,
day.
everybody.
All right.